the name of our show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Large Glass. I'm Todd.
I'm Terry.
And this is our weekly show where we bring you a new artist to talk about, or two, for that matter. How's it going?
Hello.
You like my 3D glasses?
I adore them. They're fantastic.
I'm a little reluctant to...
All right.
Oh, Marcellus just subscribed again. Thank you, Marcellus.
Thank you very much.
There's Glenn Lavertu hanging out. There's Susan Michael,
there
last
we go.
week's guest.
Yes.
Ben Hagenbush is here. So I'm a little reluctant to take these off because every time I do, once I've had them on, it's extremely disruptive to my eyes.
It is. So go slow. Yeah.
Wearing these for a reason.
Yes.
Our artist tonight has got a few images that are enhanced by 3D glasses. If you have any laying around, go find them. John and Jess Park are here.
Hello.
Taylor Backus is here. Hi, Taylor.
Fantastic.
Sherry in the Sky. Is that Sherry Biddle?
It is.
And Mike Rader.
Hello.
Oh, he's got his glasses all ready to go. He knows.
If you happen to have blue and red cellophane, that also works. I don't know if anybody's got that hanging around.
Yeah, just hang that up in front of your face.
Yeah. 2 little sheets.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Nice. It's good to see all of you. So let's see. Got a lot going on. I'm excited about Derek. So get to him in a few minutes. We have to open our drinks.
We do.
Anything exciting going on, though?
There's a lot of exciting things going on.
Like what?
Well, this weekend is the Punk Flea Market in Trenton. They have art, vinyl, collectibles, toys, taxidermy, all kinds of cool stuff.
Live tattooing.
That's true.
So it's the Trenton Punk Flea Market. It will actually be moving from Trenton this week up to Edison, New Jersey, which is much more accessible for us. So we're going to go.
Yep. And they do have a website. It's trentonprfm.com. So we're going to go check it out.
They're banner images of a burning school bus. So, you kind of, just on that alone,
very intriguing.
You have to go.
Yes.
So there's 63.
Hello.
How's it going, Bill? Oh, and Carolyn Thau is here. Good to see you, too. The gang is all here. Yep. Well, Boo Jazz is going to come in soon. Jamie Foster will come in soon.
Yeah.
Where's my mother? Mom, where are you?
Don't let us down.
Did you give up on us?
Yeah.
It's okay. You're not alone. Should we drink some wine?
We should drink some wine.
Okay.
So our artist this evening selected a
Montepulciano.
He says it so well.
I love this label too.
Yes.
Terry picked this one out, and I have to say it's quite beautiful, right? Because you've got this little tree here, but then this beautiful drawing around this line with these two hands kind of wrapped together. It's really quite a nice drawing.
It actually reminds me a little bit about Derek's work with some of the line drawings. So that's one of the reasons why I picked it out.
I love that. And never pick a bottle of wine based on its label, but in this case we do. And honestly, for those of you that are out there teaching, especially in the world of drawing, the blind contour drawing or line weight is usually an early topic for foundation stuff. So it was a perfect pick. What else we got going on?
Well, we have the Paint the Town plein air painting event starting September 17th through Lebanon Township. So you can register for $25, get your canvas stamped. They have an auction 2 weeks later on October 1st by the time you finished your painting. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that. I love getting out there and painting something.
Yep, we both registered for it, as well as a couple of our closest friends and family members.
Can I ASMR this wine?
Sure.
All right, we're gonna ASMR the wine. Crank your headphones. Here we go. Oh, that's a beautiful thing.
That is.
One for you.
Why, thank you.
One more. Here we go. Right up the barrel. Here we go. Wow, that is an experience.
It is.
Let me turn that down before we blow up the speakers. So, episode 105.
105.
And for those of you, and I have a feeling Carolyn Thau is in this group of people, but I was going to say, So for those of you who weren't here at the end of last show, brace yourself because we're about to toast our second to last episode. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
We're excited about who we have, though.
Yes, very excited.
60.
Ooh.
Mike Rader says, I like a blind grading.
Yes.
Yeah. Cheers, I guess. Marcellus is like, screw you guys.
Mickey Spiller, she's over on
Mickey
Facebook,
Spiller's here.
says, I'm actually grading blind contour drawings right this moment.
Yeah. I see. I know how this goes. Okay, so first of all, for those of you who don't know what a blind contour drawing is, look it up. It's actually, for faculty, I think it's a really beautiful assignment to give. For students, it's a really frustrating assignment to receive because it's the sort of thing where you're doing a portrait and the pencil touches the paper and it is not allowed to be lifted off the paper as you sort of move your eye around the contours of the face. It's really, 63 says it's torture.
Oh.
A little bit. There's memory vessels here.
Hello.
We have a good turnout tonight.
Yes, very good turnout.
Everybody's like, got to catch it while it's here.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it all week. We've been kind of, like I've been telling some people that weren't watching the show last week and talking about, how much this has impacted us, right? And first of all, I have to say this. I feel like we're going out with a bang. We've got Derek Haffar tonight. We've got Carol Pelagian next week. So we've got a fantastic ending lineup for this show. And we feel good about it. Like we feel really proud of what we've done. And we're going to talk about it obviously at length next week after, and we're not going to dominate Carol's show as we're not going to dominate Derek's show tonight. But we're going to talk about it at length after next week's show ends. So please join us next week because it'll be, I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
Be nice.
I think so.
It looks like my mother's not here.
Huh? Yeah.
That's
She
fine.
might be tuning in.
That's fine.
She just got her computer fixed. So I wonder if
They're gonna blame it on my son.
you think so?
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. He's a whiz kid with computers. He can fix anything you throw at him.
Well, yeah,
So,
but
yeah.
they seem to think that maybe he didn't in this case.
Well,
so
we'll see.
Anyway. All right, so should we do we have any other business to talk about tonight?
We got a birthday today.
Oh, who's the birthday?
Elizabeth Murray.
Yeah. Nice.
So
Okay.
she was born on this date.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I think that's about everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
One last thing for you guys to brainstorm on and think about before we get to Derek, and that is this. For next week's show, we'll hang around at the end for a little while. If you have any ideas for that, like little tail end piece, if you have anything you want to mention or say or quote or whatever, if you want to have a moment where you, I don't know, recall a memory from the show, you can either Instagram direct message us that thing. You can text us. You could email us. But let us know if you have something you want thrown in there. We would love to put that on there. So Mike Rader says it's been an inspiration and helped many of us get through quarantine. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
What you said earlier in the direct message on Instagram was really nice too. So thank you for that. Carolyn Thou says second to last episode of ? Second to last episode of The Large Glass, Carolyn. Yes. We'll talk more next week. I'll text you. I'll call you this week. Don't worry. Let's talk to Derek, shall we?
Yes.
All
we
right.
shall.
Fire away.
So like you said, we are going out with a bang. We have a fantastic artist lined up tonight. We're very excited that he's joining us from can I say where he's from?
Yeah.
Bucks County. So his education includes a BFA from the University of Utah, as well as an MFA from the Milton Avery Graduate School of the Arts at Bard College. He also holds a TESOL certificate School for Public Engagement from the New School. He engages with a variety of mediums and focuses in sculpture, drawing, and painting. He's also been a fabricator for very notable artists and personalities, including Matthew Barney, Red Grooms, and Tom Otterness.
Wow.
He's also worked for the Wildlife Conservation Society as an exhibit specialist and sculptor, as well as many other artists and galleries in New York and internationally. He's also an educator at Parsons and Pratt in New York City. For all of you joining us tonight, please give a warm welcome to Derek Haffar.
Hi, Derek. How's it going?
Hello. Going
Hello.
well. It's
Good.
going well. Hello.
Good. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's really an honor. We really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me. This is a great opportunity. I think
Well, thanks
got
for
on here.
thanks
Yeah.
for that, and cheers to you.
Yes,
I mean,
cheers.
we
This is a great pick.
agreed. And he's got it in a nice big old goblet. It's like
It
it's got an
does.
etched crystal goblet
Ooh,
there.
that's nice.
Cheers, Derek.
Your state.
So you usually start us off.
I do. And it's a very broad question that we start off with everybody. Can you tell us a little bit about the art that you make? Which seems extremely big considering you work with all these mediums. But do you want to just kind of steer us
Give
right
us a
into
brief.
it?
I guess I could. I would call it situational. How is that too brief?
That's pretty good.
I've got to be like really, really adaptive, and so I jump around a lot. But as far as the mediums go, but there are, I believe, these threads that run through everything, and so my struggle is to, I'm constantly trying to maintain that thread. It's like that baseline going through everything, even though they look completely different. Like I've been typing lately. I call it typing, not writing. um, I love typing. I don't know if I'm a very good writer yet. We'll see how that unfolds. But fortunately, I've got some help with that. So I've been typing, but I'm still playing with the depth thing, the 3D illusion, like I do with the sculpture. Yeah, I don't know. Am I going on too much?
No,
I got tired of
Not at all. I think it helps for us to kind of like dive into the work so that everybody can kind of like have something to wrap their heads around. But we started off with this image with two typewriters, and you just talked about the fact that you're typing, not writing. So maybe just give us a brief on how the typewriter plays a role in the work, and I'll start to move into the imagery as you're doing that.
Okay, that's fine. It came with wanting to tell a story, and this was this all the work that you're gonna see tonight goes to the beginning of the pandemic, and I was searching for different ways to tell a story, and I have so many different ways, and then then I found myself lacking a story to tell. And so I kind of I adopted a story, the J. Alfred Proof love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. I thought, okay, I'll tell that story, and that I think that's a technique that a lot of writers might use. Just borrow something to kind of get you jump started, and then you kind of take it in your own direction. I don't know, but trying to tell a story. I'm still trying to tell a story, even all the way through to the Viewmaster project that I'm looking forward to sharing with you tonight.
Gotcha.
So this is a good example of where this has started, and I've got to give a shout out. I think I put a picture in here of Isabella, who's been coming here and helping me one day a week. She comes and types, and this is what you're seeing here. I think there's Bella. She comes and types. I don't even tell her what to type. She just types. I'm like, okay, here, which typewriter do you want today? And she'll choose. Okay, I want that one. Or they each have a different voice. So we type together. So this is an example of a dialogue that's going on between her and I. So she's typing the green, I'm typing the black, and then there are certain parts that are kind of censored out. There's a grid that's floating above. And I think I've got different iterations of this one. but I think that that one's 3D'd.
It's very hard for me to see because I've got a giant light in my face.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it
So
is.
that black grid floats above the type. I don't know why. It's a space thing. I'm into space. I've gotten hooked on this, but
Well, that's so, I've always known you from your sculptural work, right? And so
mm,
when you start to move into the realm of typing and then thinking about the flat space and thinking spatially about the flat space, and you said to me, I think it was in an email, you were like, by the way, do you happen to have any 3D glasses? I, I mean, I knew about the ViewMaster thing, which we're going to talk about in a little while, but I never realized that you were taking the flat works, and we'll just call them flat works. I didn't realize you were taking them to that level. And that all of a sudden really made me start to think about your work differently. So let's kind of just keep going, and then hopefully I can flesh that thought out a little bit more for everyone who's watching in a little bit. But do all of the flat works incorporate a three-dimensional spatial element to them, or no?
no, no. These are moments on a path that I'm trying to get to that end, like where is it going to wind up. So you mentioned in the beginning that you didn't really want to take off those 3D glasses, right? Because they kind of strained your eyes. So yes, I discovered that too. Also, if you don't get the 3D part of it right, it's even more painful to look.
Yeah,
Not painful, but it does strain the eyes to look at them.
right.
So that's a problem, especially when you want people to try to read text.
Yeah.
So um, so that's. I mean, I was already wanting to go and do the ViewMaster work, and this was part of the way, but this was like stereo photography. Um, I was doing at the time, and also uh, yeah, this was a step on the way. So I guess the short answer is no, not all of the works are done like this.
So let's just kind of, I don't have the image of the ViewMaster next, and I'd like to go in order here, but let's talk a little bit about what the ViewMaster means to you or how it crept its way into your work. You've got some old school kind of devices at work here. You've got the typewriter, you've got the ViewMaster. You've got a very sort of early form of dialogue. You're almost like writing letters back and forth with Bella. So there's this kind of this older contact-based, tactile kind of experience in the making. What's that all about?
I don't know. I think I was talking with Terry just briefly earlier on, and I said it was all about time. And I think that it's nostalgia. It's me trying to share the way I see the world. It's like I did. Some people see through rose-colored glass. Mine are sort of um, I don't know, a patina of a glaze of uh, I'm trying to think of the right word, kind of an amber, just through the past, like those old 70s, like washed out Kodachrome colors. I love to try to capture
Sure.
that, to recreate that. Um, that's what I'm doing because it's my past, you know. So I'm kind of trying to recreate my past in a way, like the way that I see the world. I would love to see the world again that way. Um, and I'm trying to find a way to do it. So I have analog typewriters. I have a vinyl turntable. I'm like really grasping for different ways to achieve it. Um, I fell in love with the ViewMaster because it doesn't strain the eyes, and it uses ambient light. There's no light source built into it. So it's going to use the local light from wherever you are. And it really has a wonderful softening effect for the images. And then there's just been a series of surprises. as I go further into it. And I just want to say, I just want to own that it's not complete yet. I've got like a real, and I've got another one that's partially done, but I do have all of the pieces in place. So there's a special camera. I've been developing the slide film myself to get that kind of look to it, and um, and it works. It works. When I pulled out that first roll of slide film from the tank, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, it's like that's it. That's the way I want to. That's what I want to share. Um, so it's not just that. It's the place. It's the time. I've gotten pretty obsessive about time of day, location, foggy morning. I spent the summer up in Canada, and not as many foggy mornings as I remember. But man, when there was one, I went out right away with my camera, capture the fog and the tide and all these signifiers of time. The tide completely going out. How can I do it? I love this picture. Um, just this little fragment, and yeah.
I was going to ask two things real quick. One of our viewers is asking, is it important for the viewer to read top to bottom, left to right, first of all? So let's answer that one, and then there's another question I have.
I don't think so. But it is, if you're engaged with it enough to do that, there are rewards in there, tucked away.
Love that.
But it does drop off and pick up, and there are weird moments of dialogue between the two voices, and then other times they're completely separated.
Gotcha.
Sometimes you'll be reading one voice, and you'll just go right to the second voice, and it seems like they're both on the same wave. They're both saying the same thing in a way.
Yeah, and the other thing I kind of want our viewers to be aware of, since we haven't quite gotten there yet, is when you look at this body of work, we see a combination of things. We see writing, we see drawing, we see photography, we see the Viewmaster discs themselves. So there's a collection of ephemera and objects that kind of make up this this body. And earlier when Terry had asked you, tell us about in general what you do, you said I'm situational, and I actually really love that response rather than saying I'm a painter, I'm a sculptor, I'm a photographer, because the situational aspect of what it is you're trying to solve requires answers or explorations in all of these different realms. And I think the multitude of disparate things, and maybe not disparate, but the multitude of variety, it really lends itself to that.
Well, my life certainly has. Otherwise, I wouldn't be making anything at all. I got so tired of lugging all the plaster molds, and castings got damaged along the way, and I just, after a couple moves, I got to do something else. So I got these big heavy typewriters that I moved. I went up to Canada with 3 typewriters in my car. And,
yeah, because they're light.
Yeah. That one in the back. Wait, what's that one? That's not an anvil. That's a typewriter with an extended carriage. It's a 24-inch carriage on that sucker there.
Is that just so you can make a larger document?
Yeah, you can do 24-inch. So some of these drawings that you're seeing, they look like they're regular size typewriter paper, but actually they are like they can go full 20 inches, 22 inches across.
Which answers Bill's question, because somebody asked if these were smallish, but apparently they're not.
Some are, and some are, and some aren't. The beauty of this format is you can't tell the difference. What is what? A little sketch can come off the same as a 24 by 30 inch. This particular one is not huge. It's like 12 by 16, I think.
Gotcha.
And this can be read. This is a nice example of I do the draw. I do a drawing. Bella's over. I give her a drawing. I'm like, okay, which typewriter? And so I think that this is all her voice here.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, John Park in our audience says, I can relate. Should not have gotten rid of my Viewmaster collection from my youth. I had national parks, Disney's Fantasia, and a whole bunch of other things. Should not have gotten rid of my Royal typewriter of my grandfather either. Yeah. So I know that feeling. As soon as I get rid of something, it's like. Anyway, did you have something to ask, or was that my imagination? That's my imagination.
Yeah, well, I'm just going through these, and I think that I have a lot of observations about them as we move through them, and even as people are, asking, do we read them top to bottom? How do we look at them? And the use of different fonts and typewriters, it lends to this stream of consciousness versus conversation versus a moment in time versus a whole bunch of time all put together, and the mania that we sometimes feel, but there's something very quiet about it. So I'm just kind of taking it in right now as we move through. I do like the collaboration, though. It certainly adds to the pieces to have that voice happen with the line drawing. So yeah,
I love that.
It's been really nice. I work collaboratively. This just comes from kind of my background working in the arts. So like the whole bit about working with Red Grooms, who is like my first job after college was, and I graduated in Utah. I met Red Grooms in Utah, and he told me if I came back, he'd give me some work. So that was a big reason why I came back, and he did. But it's the Ruckus Construction Company, which is what he called his studio. And it was a huge collaborative practice endeavor, and he was great about crediting all of his team. I just grew up with that. So it's like team play for me. It was the same thing. Otterness, the art factory, quintessential art factory, and Barney too. I mean, it was just working on a huge crew to follow on one person's vision. So I mean, I can't, of course, I'm not going to hire a team, but I love working with other people. Someone across from me, it just helps keep me going and like in check, and just it's company. I mean, that's why I can only be a typist and not a writer, because I couldn't isolate like that. I would need to be a good writer. I would need somebody around.
Well, and the perfect thing about the delineation between typist and writer with you as the sculptor is the typing is the physical activity of the actual event. And the writing to me seems to be, especially where art is concerned, the writing is often superfluous, right? It's like if you're going to write something, write something. But if you're going to make something, then make something. And in your world, you have found a way to put these two together in a way that really works. Like, I'm not saying the writing is superfluous in yours. I'm saying that your combination of you as typist and then having the writer there makes me all of a sudden ask all these questions about the process now. Not from like a writer's process, but from like a conversational process, right? Or a moment in time. So like if Bella types something in green and then you respond, are you reading what she wrote like thoroughly and thinking and analyzing, or are you reacting more to maybe like a quick scan or the visual of the layout of the words on the paper?
Yeah, no, I'm not really reading and responding, and that's what makes it kind of a nice partnership is we're kind of on the same page. I'm kind of anticipating. I don't know how much she is responding to what I write, but they're just prompts.
Right.
Sometimes, okay, so we will have this thing where pick out certain fragment of a sentence and use that, or certain descriptive words and repeat that. I don't think this one's 3D, Terry.
I'm just trying to see them all to see if there's anything. I
I think.
I
Oh,
was going to
sorry.
say, I don't even know if it's so much about the thoughts encased in the words themselves. It becomes more of a visual language here. Like when you're looking at it, it's more about the image that it's creating with this dialogue going back and forth, or even the choice in fonts and color and stuff like that. And with some of this too, it becomes sculptural because you've got this spatial relationship where it's rising off the page like a relief almost, and
Hmm.
it's just that line that's coming towards you. So I'm noticing a lot of that as well.
You mentioned earlier, you mentioned Proof Rock, the love song of J. Alfred Proof Rock by T.S. Eliot, and I know you have a project earlier around that piece of writing, but in some ways, if we're thinking about poetry and we're thinking about words as form, then this is a perfect sort of sculptor's extension of that on a real kind of, a nice level, right? And so you're smiling at me. Am I slurring my words already? No. Um,
Smiling.
so what I'm curious about, and I'm sure we'll get to this later, but when it comes to time, and Mike Rader said something earlier I meant to read where he's like, oh, there it is. Interesting that Derek mentioned time with the typewriter work. The Viewmaster hands a lot of the control of time to the audience. Is that an additional step into time? And that comment, and I'll let you answer that, but I just that comment plus this notion of slow conversation, it kind of makes me think a lot about the time that was present in the content of Proof Rock and the regrets that he sort of expresses in that. And I don't know how much that plays a role, but I'm curious, and maybe we should save that for later. I don't know.
Uh, you know, yes. I just
Perfect.
say.
Perfect.
I mean, the Proof Rock is just this amazing character, and that poem is really scandalous at the time. I think 1915. I thought it was after the flu pandemic, um, but no, it preceded it.
Spanish
It
flu, you
was
mean,
just
correct?
I was just that first dark winter of the pandemic. I was just in this barn. I was in Connecticut at the time, and I actually had a vinyl record of T.S. Eliot reading the poem,
It's
and
a
I just
beautiful, I
got
know that.
It is.
That recording is amazing.
I
yeah.
actually listened to it
Uh,
right before we came on tonight just to hear the whole thing over again.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
it's dark. It's a bit dark. So I don't know, but I just got obsessed. Obsessed. Honestly, I really wanted to just finish something. I saw what I was doing, and this is about the point when I kind of put away my plaster pots and my silicone mold making stuff and just started typing like a madman. It was just like this poem says it all. This says it all. This has got to be out there. Let's make a game out of it. Let's make a card game out of
Right,
it.
right. And that's what the Proof Rock piece was, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Printed by the Bicycle uh playing card company. Top quality,
Top
by the way. Just
quality. Hey, Memory Vessel is asking, one of our viewers is asking, do you consider it performance?
um I I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I know that there's a lot of energy there, and there is some just consciousness of how I'm projecting, I guess. The typewriters are very responsive. They're percussive, and they're like a piano where you can type very lightly and you just get a whisper, and or you can pound them and you get these dark impact. So part of it is I love the rhythm of I love the sound of it. um, I would have to say Maybe. My one word answers. I'm sorry if that.
No, I think that's
No,
like
that's great.
the way you lead up to the one word answer is perfect. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. There's one in here where I type with no ribbon, and it's one of the big ones, uh, and that's just all percussion, uh, and it's really weird because it's almost impossible to read, and it's all text background texture,
Hmm.
um, mm,
It's like an
and I don't know.
embossing.
Is it this
It's
one?
like an embossing.
Yeah, all of these are on rag paper, by the way.
Might be.
They're all Stonehenge or Bristol, and the black is etching ink, so they're all archival for all you collectors out there.
Nice.
For
Let's jump
just in
over.
case.
Let's jump over to the
Oh,
ViewMaster for a few minutes, and let's talk about that a bit if we can, because there's sort of the older Viewmasters, and I remember this very one actually. I loved the knurled grip of the little advancer that was on this one because it had this really nice texture to it. But there was a typewriter aesthetic to these. They kind of had that same kind of feel to them. Um, how did how? I'm just curious about how these two things came into the world for you together, but because they make so much sense to me together, but I would never put them together.
It was just following the thread. I was trying to imitate all the ViewMaster thing for I spent at least several months, and working with a woman, graphic designer who actually I've never met, but we've been collaborating really nicely.
Hmm.
Trying to how do we get this, like how do we, with digital technology there must be a way to recreate, and we went through a whole bunch of different iterations, which you'll see a little bit further on, I think. It just made perfect sense. Eventually I was like, oh, it's got to be all ViewMaster. They made their own camera, they made their own flash for the camera, um, and once you got that, and it's all from the same period as the typewriters. So far in what we've shown tonight, the two haven't been married yet, but a little bit further down you can see where I've incorporated the poetry, with the images and the ViewMaster, and it's like they belong together somehow.
Gotcha. I'm gonna move.
Kind of,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you've got this image of the slide here, which I think is an interesting sort of precursor to the
Mm.
this notion of the viewable space, the transparent space, but the writing comes into play. Um, and then just ahead of that, we start to see these that you're building. This is one of yours, correct?
Yeah, yeah. And that is earlier kind of uh digital, um analog, like hybrid. How can we do this? And I, it looks great like this.
Hmm.
But when you put it in there, it just goes grainy. And I was like, no, this is wrong. It's like, um, and I've heard different technical theories about why this is happening, but the magnification for those little tiny things through the ViewMaster's huge.
Yeah.
So you wind up seeing the grain of the film, um, unless you're going like it breaks down. I don't know what to say, but if you zoom in on those, I don't know if we can here. And there's some other examples where you can see the type. Okay, so this is right off of the ViewMaster roll of film. This was my first, no, my second slide film developing at home, and I got it. But you can see I'm like pursuing the fog, trying to get the atmosphere, trying to get this timeless thing. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So the way the ViewMaster works, it shoots these tiny little exposures, and it shoots across the top of the roll of film all the way to the end, and then you switch a gear and it shoots backwards as it rewinds the film. And so you wind up with 72 exposures on a 36 exposure roll of film. And not only that, but it leapfrogs each frame. So you've got to go back and um, you've got to shoot it's series of 7.
Right.
So a Viewmaster reel has 7 different images that you see. So I'm thinking in 7 frame stories, um, nonlinear poetry, and how can I make that work? And what's the story?
So then in reality, and I know you said this at the beginning, but I'm just trying to sum up here. The camera that shoots for the Viewmaster disc is specifically from Viewmaster.
It is. It's a Viewmaster, personal Viewmaster something.
And you can't,
Whatever.
and so that's interesting. I would have assumed you'd be on some Canon DSLR
Yeah,
shooting
thought
at super high res.
I think there's a technique too where to get that 3D image, you just kind of take the shot and then you just move a little bit over so that you're compensating for both eyes. I remember my father. Yeah, I'm gonna go into this for a second. So
Okay.
he was into photography. He's an artist as well, and he got really into this 3-dimensional stereo optic thing. We had a Viewmaster. We found it at a yard sale. They fell in love with it. It was all nostalgic. They had all these awesome reels, and then my dad even went further, and he got the Victorian stereo optic Viewmaster, where you put the slide in, and the image is identical, except it's just taken a little bit over so that you get that dimensionality. I was not aware that they had a camera that could actually shoot like that, which is really cool, which it's a whole other thing.
Yeah, there are several. But if you're going to, and they do different things, they're for different formats. Like this is one probably
wow.
This is for a larger format stereo viewer. I went through all of that, and then I was like, oh my God, they all I need is that Viewmaster camera. Because if they're just slightly off, Terry, then that's where the strain on the eye comes, and the viewer might not even really notice it. It's just they're not going to want to look at it for any period of time. So the thing about using the whole Viewmaster setup is like somebody spent a lot of time working all of that out. I mean, when you see this equipment, it's like, whoa, this is somebody.
I think it's also interesting today, generationally speaking, because we have this virtual reality thing going on, whereas you have the technology and the high, these immersive experiences, but yet we're going back into the Viewmaster, and it's just a quieter way of immersing yourself in a completely different environment. It's got that element of frozen time. Most of us can relate to that, and we want to live there for a little bit. But yeah.
It makes me think of Dante Hayes when we had Dante K. Hayes on the show, and he talked about the slow read.
Yeah.
And how, you have to spend some time. And that's indicative of poetry. It's indicative of the type of work that I prefer to look at, frankly, that, I don't it's not like a one-line joke where I walk up and I get it. It's sort of like, I love to really take something apart and think about, the different relationships, and I'm actually preferring that they don't necessarily all add up. Hang on, I can't get over how fast the time is going. There's so many comments, Derek, that are flying by, and everybody in the audience, I'm sorry I'm not getting to every single one of them because there's been some good ones. John Park asked if you've ever considered making sound-only art pieces from the techniques around the typewriter and some of the other things you do. We don't have to answer every single one of these. Maybe you could sum some of these up because there's questions about the work. Bill asks how you're able to use printmaker's ink with the typewriter, which I was actually curious about, from the standpoint of that. Are you using a traditional ribbon or did you say printmaker's ink?
The black splotches, I think they're referring to, which is etching ink, which made a horrible mess in my carriage, but a priceless mess.
Nice.
I mean, you can see if you take a look at it, you can see the trail as the thing is rolling through. So yeah, it's a big mess. So I don't recommend this. I've got workhorse typewriter. I've got different typewriters. So I've got one that I kind of run through the trenches. Um, the sound thing, I think John Cage and Frank Zappa, lots of people use that that this sound. I'm just not. I've got no rhythm. I don't
Cage
know.
didn't
I
have
mean,
a
I
rhythm.
think
Cage had no rhythm.
that's my friend Vaughn Lambert on Deer Island. I don't know if he's watching, but there's going to be a Viewmaster reel of Vaughn cooking his mackerel up there.
Oh,
Ooh.
nice.
So big shout out for Vaughn.
Well, on that note, Derek,
Bit of a sidetrack.
Mike Rader asks, he says, these are beautiful. Do you show the whole sequence the Viewmaster camera takes like a Muybridge?
I'm just at the edge of this thing right
it's
now.
new. It's so new.
Yeah, and marveling at that, but yeah, I'm at the edge, so I don't quite know where it's going to go. I'm just really satisfied now that I can get some reels and do some series now, and then hopefully I can release them. I would love, like around the holidays, maybe to have some reels that people can buy for their Viewmasters.
That would be
Yeah,
amazing.
that would be amazing.
It's another get rich slowly scheme.
I remember how the disc used to come in a nice little sleeve. I mean,
little
you could
envelope.
package this. Oh,
Yeah, so nice.
I'd start hunting for a Viewmaster instantly if these were going to be out. I'd be like all over that. I would want that.
I've been hoarding some here, but there's still some left out there in the world.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks for leaving us a
I
few.
think, I think if you, so now we're starting to get into the like, this was the early stages, Terry, what you were describing, like those stereo photographs where I was trying to do that. So, this is something that is 3D'd, and you can see the type, and I'm starting to incorporate the poetry with the images. And this was about, let me see, I took this picture in March. I was up in Canada, and there was still ice up there.
Yeah, part of the trick for me, I'm realizing, is I have to put the 3D glasses on over my glasses. But
Yeah, I do. I do that too.
I love
Those
I love the space that you establish between the text and what's going on in this depth of the image. I mean, so often we find that, the integration of text in something like this just feels slapped on. It feels like there's no thought put into how that goes. But in these, there's something, I don't know, it's almost unreal.
But it's surreal, I guess.
Maybe
would
surreal.
be the right.
Yeah.
In kind of a not ironic way. I mean, when you're looking at it through the Viewmaster, I mean, I almost, it would seem kind of ridiculous maybe to some people, but James Turrell, and his love of light, and I really think about him a lot so it makes a difference where I'm pointing the thing, what time of day it is, and all of this affects how what you get out of the poem.
Gotcha.
The non-linear poem.
One of our viewers, Memory Vessel, she is big into a lot of photographic processes, and she was talking earlier. She says that she has a stereo camera that shoots 2 1/4, but then she also says a zoetrope would be fantastic, which is along the same lines.
That's a great idea.
I love
That's
that.
a great idea. Thank you. I mean, I've got I just bury myself in this. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Agreed.
I'm almost there. It's like now I'm at the fun part. I mean, I've been sweating this thing out for a while. Like, no, that's not right. No, that's not right. And now it's finally working. I'm like, oh my God, maybe I'm good at something after all.
Oh, come on.
I mean, the typing is like, it's a great device because if I think of it as typing, I can write anything. And then I'm like, wow, this might actually be good writing somehow. But if I sit down to write, nah, I'm stuck. But when I just sit down to type, I'm like
Yeah.
all over the place. I'm like,
Oh,
good. It's that
further
free
proof
association.
that activation, that
Yes.
process is like the idea generator. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I'm all about.
Mm-hmm.
And you just got an invitation from Memory Vessel to collaborate. She says, let's collaborate. Can we look at some of the proof rock pieces?
sure, sure, go jump ahead. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to tell you, I have loved these
Since we saw
from the
them.
first time I saw them.
Now, what's going on? Because I know that Courtry Collective was going to sell, I believe, either a book or a package of them. Are they going to be available for sale, like a reproduction of these?
There are decks.
Yeah,
The
they're.
love song of J. Alfred Prufrock
Yeah.
playing current
Yeah,
deck.
that's
Oh,
awesome.
man, these are
I'm
so
still waiting for the
sweet.
release. I keep checking and they still haven't released it yet. They say check back later.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was just I decided to relaunch, so I thought I might relaunch them this kind of holiday season,
Yeah.
combined with the Viewmaster reels, and
Ooh.
just go whole hog with like, okay, this is not. I mean, I don't know. Yes, you can email me or go to my website. If Courtry isn't, uh, I got to check with them. They've never asked for more. So either my website or I've got plenty of them.
Okay.
Yes.
And we'll post that on our
In order to
website.
get that quality printing, you've got to have a certain number in your run.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
And I wanted that. So these look really rough, but they're actually very slick.
Yeah.
They're nice cards.
We'll add, I just popped it up on the screen, but we will add your website to the description of the YouTube video. So that'll be in there tomorrow. But let's talk about this project because, I mean, this goes, you've got a lot going on in this piece. And I'm not sure, like, God, Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock was the first poem I tried to memorize. This poem means a lot to me. And so when you started making this, plus, this show's not about me, but there's something about the cards and the mentality of the person that is sort of being nostalgic speaking, talking in, J. Alfred Prufrock himself. There's something about all of these things that go together. I don't know if his sort of bachelor-esque or bachelor kind of mentality. I don't know. I should stop talking and let you talk.
Oh, I don't know. You're doing great, but I mean, it's a hell of a project. It started with one drunken night typing and sanding off playing cards and typing directly on the playing cards, and I thought I was done with it. And then Tanya Sutton, who was collaborated with this. She's in France, and I sent it to her, and she was like, "Oh my God," that she did all editing. So it went through a vigorous editorial process to get it correct. But I don't know. I mean, this gets really, and this points to the fact, like my judgment in like, okay, I'm gonna make. Oh, this is Mickey Spiller. Mickey's out there.
Hi, Mickey.
Hello.
Yeah, and we did printed this out on. In addition to the cards, it exists as an accordion book.
Oh, yes.
It was 44 feet, an entire roll of German rag paper
That's my
that they
Christmas
printed
present.
at the Pratt shop. and and so it exists in that form as well. And they printed beautifully on the rag paper.
I shouldn't let Terry hear me say this, Derek, but she just said that's my Christmas present, so I'm gonna have to talk to you
Yes.
after we get done. So
Ricky helped with the building.
it's a
I'm not there.
Yeah, it's
beautiful,
gorgeous.
beautiful
It's
project.
gorgeous.
And that's it. That's 44 feet.
All wrapped up in a little
Wow.
binding. I love that.
Yeah.
You know, there's also something really beautiful about the tactility of the way you handled this poem, because there's something really sort of tactile about some of the descriptions in the poem. You know, like the yellow smoke that rubs its back upon the window panes. You know, like the scuttling of claws on the beach, the silver spoons. You know, so or coffee spoons, I should say. So I love those connections that you sort of subtly pull from the tangibility of the poem. The poem's got tangibility, and you grab onto that. And I mean, I think that to me takes all the elements of the writing and the sculpture, and it's like brings them together.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, if you jump ahead, I mean, I think we're almost out.
We're
but,
close.
yeah, I was like doing texture samples that were drywall compound on black paper, and I'd take them out in the driveway and drag them, step on them, whatever, scan them. And then Kirsten had this palette of textures that she would use in the background. So every card is different. She would combine, I think, I don't know how many different samples she used, 7 or 8 in different combinations, and was able to get that really distressed texture.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Well, we definitely want to get that out there and see those in real life. I want to go to one more thing that we have of yours, and that was some of the work you were doing around some of the shadow work that you were doing.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're backing up into your, you know, we're sort of, in some ways, we're going from what's current, and we're really two-dimensionally oriented in what's current, with the remnants being maybe, you know, the disc for the Viewmaster. Then we back up a little bit. We get to these cards, and we see these drywall compound examples, and we see this kind of physicality to the accordion book. And then we back up one more step, and we kind of see another level of physicality and sculpture, but rendered in 2 dimensions. And so tell us about some of these things you were doing with the shadows.
I'm still trying to tell a story. Yeah, and these were the early stages of it. And I thought about doing animation. I was very into shadow animation at that time, and a group called Analog Cinema, who I just adore, at least their early work. And I thought about doing silhouette wire projections. And I found that if I used a film, a 16 millimeter film, blank film, as my light source, I could get like these animations. They looked like film, and they were fun, but complicated, and I needed more people. But of course, I was isolated at the time, so it was just me. Occasionally, Julian Rosell, he came up once, and I did have a little team. Rachel came in. She still helps with that website, but I put an ad in the paper, the local paper, for people to come and help me 1 hour a week. And I got 3 people working 2 hours a week to help. But it was just, I got lost in it. It was just too much space. But these are little bits, pieces of a story. It's still, I haven't walked away from it. It's just kind of shelved right now because I've got my hand full with the Viewmaster thing. But if I had a crew, yeah, I'd have a couple people.
Can I show the video?
Yeah. The escaping rocket.
This is so fantastic. Watch this, you guys. And what I love about that is that was all like real. Like that rocket got out of there. It's like,
Yeah, it got out of the cage.
it's still going off.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's my life. It's my life story right there. I mean, there's a whole story right there. So
Oh my
maybe
God.
that's one reason why I was done. It's like, well, I need to. I've got to engage people for more than 45 seconds somehow.
Well, I got to tell you that, as we look through, we go from this to this, all the way back to places like this and this. This is the best autobiography I've ever seen. Like,
Yeah.
I so enjoy the way in which you sort of handle your material and the sensitivity and the slowness and the tactility. Such a gorgeous, gorgeous way to work.
Wow, thank you. That's a lot. And that's just one reason why I wanted to come on this with you, because I need a boost right now. I'm like kind of getting lost in the weeds. So some way like putting to get this together has helped me to like refocus a bit. So thank you. I really, really appreciate those kind words.
Our pleasure.
And,
Absolutely. You got people in the chat that tried to go over to buy your work, and they said that it's coming soon. So they're like, come on, man, get a pre-order out there, and everybody's going to be there. So,
all right. So
you're getting the love.
So I'll get an email from the gallery, I guess. They'll be surprised.
No, I'm excited for them. I can't wait.
But Derek, thanks for coming on, man. We had such a good time talking to you. This was really, really awesome.
Hey, thank you. It's really been a pleasure, and anytime. I can't wait to see what you all do next.
Well, we're going to get there. We'll let you know. And keep us posted on what you do next, all right?
Okay.
All right, man.
I will.
Thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you all for everyone who tuned in.
Take care.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we got to read some of these things because we got a lot
great comments coming through.
Yeah, and Memory Vessel was saying that the wire pieces, that's the zoetrope. And I was like, yeah, that's right. That's right. That was a great thing.
Yeah, love these.
Everybody's saying perfect image, love these.
Yeah.
But John Park says, but that's an awesome 45 seconds.
It is an awesome 45 seconds.
Memory Vessel says, amazing. Pumpkin Audrey's like, way cool. Mike Rader says, such great work, Derek. Thanks for sharing. And Todd and Terry look great in 3D.
Ooh.
Are we in 3D?
Are we like right in your house?
I don't know. John Park says, to me, this is when people say beauty and they mean it as a compliment and not as some art school weirdness. This is beauty for real.
It is.
Oh, man.
It is. It's such a
nailed
slow beauty. That's the thing with his work.
Yeah.
I mean, and I use the word poetic a lot, but it really is. There's a timelessness to it. Even the one image we have suspended on our screen, which was the last image that you saw with the words and the smudges and the stamps, and that, we're talking about communication as we knew it, and it's just beautiful. So,
right.
Yeah.
And Susan Michael has said some really good things tonight, and I missed a couple of those things. Mickey Spiller sends a heart emoji, but Susan Michael had said some things earlier about some of the ways in which the layering and the use and reuse of things, which I found to be really compelling. But she's also saying, look, Ma, no filter. It's real fog.
Yeah.
I know, right? That was totally real.
Yeah.
Sherry in the Sky, so inspiring. Thank you. Carolyn Thau says, wonderful show. Thank you, Derek. Guys, thank you so much for this. This is good. This is so good. And I will put in the description on the YouTube post Derek's information so that you can go there and pick up that deck. I highly recommend it. If you've never read Proof Rock, read it.
Yes.
Read it.
Yeah.
Anyway, next week we have Carol Pelagian as our last and final show on the Large Glass. I know you're going to love her. I know it. I love her. I think she's really wonderful. And she lends herself to my RISD bias a little bit. So,
There's that.
But she's a powerhouse. So, anyway, everyone, you're the best. Thank you for joining us. And we will talk to you all very soon.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Take care.
All right.